Thank you, Vice Chair. Moving ahead, good afternoon. We are now attending the board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via teleconference, with the proceedings live streamed from the Port Authority website. On April 12th, the Committee on Governance and Ethics met in executive session. Earlier today, the Committees on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public, and the Committees on Finance met in public and executive sessions. Their reports will be filed within the official minutes of today's meeting. The Commissioners also met in executive earlier today to discuss ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals, matters related to personnel procedures, and to discuss and act upon related to proposed, pending, or current litigation or judicial or administrative proceedings, and matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value. Before we start, we have obviously one of our first meetings here in Jersey City since December of 2019. I want to welcome everybody back. It is amazing we have not been here since December of 2019. It seems like a long time ago that we've kind of been mired in this pandemic that started about March of 2020. As I stated at the New York meeting last week, when this pandemic overcame this world and this country and this agency, we kind of just said, you know, what are we going to do? And I will tell you that Rick and senior staff put a plan of action together very quickly, moved fast very quickly, and we now arrive at this point some 2 years and 4 months after the fact, and we see the progress of the numbers that we've just seen by Libby and others. The world is coming back, very much so. Rick and I have had the opportunity over the last few weeks to go and tour through many of the facilities, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. We're continuing to do that. We will actually be in Jersey City one of these days. We're not going to say when, but we'll be here next couple of weeks to say hello to the employees who have come back and to all the Port Authority employees who are now back, the 1/3 of the employees who were remote, now working back in the offices. I want to thank you very much for all that you've done. And to the 2/3 of the employees who have been working on the front lines for the last 2 years and 4 months, thank you very much for keeping this agency moving forward. We can't thank you enough. The Port Authority has done so much over the last 100 years. Overcoming this pandemic was just another great notch in the belt of the Port Authority employees dating back literally 100 years ago. So thank you on behalf of the commissioners here. Pretty amazing. Along amazing, over the last month, the Port Authority has received 3 very distinguished awards on behalf of the efforts of the staff in multiple departments, and a reflection of Rick Cotton's leadership and expertise. And the Port Authority was recognized for upholding diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of its mission. Last month, it was recognized with 2 very specific awards, actions taken in furtherance of the efforts dealing with furthering diversity and inclusion. Specifically, the American Society for Public Administration and Journal of Commerce honored the agency for the commitment to creating a more equitable and diverse workplace, and in particular the 25-point diversity action plan developed by the Leadership Steering Committee on Race that was established in June of 2020. The third recognition is that the Government Finance Officers Association's presentation of its Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the Port Authority 2021 annual budget. The agency's approach to its operating and capital budget throughout the catastrophic impacts of the pandemic are a testament to the expertise and development of the entire agency, and in this case, the leadership of the finance organization during times of crisis. And I know when that 25-point diversity plan was put up by the Leadership Council, which you appointed, Rick, after George Floyd was murdered, came together. We had some really hard conversations about race and diversity and some challenges that had faced this agency and our society that have not been discussed. And we forced that discussion, and with that, born out of that was the 25 points that have been actually a hallmark of the new level of intensity and commitment that agencies like the Port Authority want to achieve regarding diversity and inclusion. I know Commissioner McCabe, after this was born, I know you took it to, I think, Middlesex, and that was well received. And we had heard from a number of municipal and county agencies throughout the country that wanted to model the agency's 25 points of diversity and try to make it part of their own. So Rick, on behalf of the agency, thank you for your stellar work, and thank you for working with senior staff. And I know you and Michael and Messiah in the early day gave birth to this, but recognition well deserved.
Well, I think the recognition that was received reflects the really extraordinary work across the agency. The Leadership Steering Committee, which were 10 very senior executives, did provide the leadership, but one of the striking things that they did was go out and hold listening sessions attended ultimately by 2,400 of the Port Authority's staff and recruited 125 employee volunteers to work in each of the areas of diversity and inclusion and develop this really far-reaching plan. So recognition well-deserved for across the agency. I also want to take note of the award you mentioned in terms of the finance organization, where particularly coming through this COVID period, that the labors that they have devoted to assuring that the funding we're attending, identifying efficiencies across the agency and monitoring performance, well-deserved award.
Thank you, Rick. The agency, 8,000 employees, ever-changing, people being hired, people retiring. Although you notice in this agency, people stay around longer and longer. They don't normally do their 25 or 30. They are lifers, so to speak. We have an opportunity today to recognize an individual who's leaving us, and we have to take note of Sam Ruda, who's going to be retiring from the agency. During the COVID for the last 2 years, we would have these Zoom calls with all senior staff, and like 3 times a week, then 2 times a week. And throughout, we would hear the numbers, and it was really depressing. I mean, you had the air traffic, the passengers were down to 1% of passengers. You had PATH was down to almost nothing in terms of passengers. You had the cars and trucks at the Holland and Lincoln and the crossings was doing decent. But at the end of every one, we would have one shining star. It was the port. And Sam would get up there and talk about the numbers in port. And literally the numbers were exceeding pre-pandemic, and what he and the Port Department had done over the last 2 years to kind of stabilize the operation and give hope to the rest of us that there was some sanity and we would balance to a normal world at some point in time, really was born out of the Port Department. He did an exceptional job. Sam has let us know that he's going to be moving on and moving out of the area. And I think it's appropriate that we take this time to wish Sam well. I think he's on the Zoom. He joined us in 2015, and he was appointed as the director of the Port Department in 2019. He led the port through some extraordinary times. It was under his leadership that we developed these critical projects that will serve the agency for decades, including the completion of the Express Rail, Port Jersey Intermodal Container Transfer Facility, and significant upgrades to the New York, New Jersey rail operations, which provide for the efficient movement of all the cargo. He was instrumental in leading the team to develop a master plan for sustainable development and to meet the challenges of the future. Under Sam's direction, the Port Department effectively worked with the stakeholders and handled all-time high cargo, which is just astonishing. We're still talking about this. So to Sam, we want to say on behalf of the port, on behalf of the commissioners, on behalf of all the employees, on behalf of all the residents in New York and New Jersey, and those areas like through the Midwest that we serve that are getting the cargo that comes out of our ports, we want to say thank you very much. Amazing job well done. We will absolutely miss you, and we love that you shared this time with us. I also want to note at this time, not that we're going to be in a lull here, Beth Ann, correct? Beth Ann Rooney, who's with us here, who has been with us for 31 years, has been appointed as the director. And Beth Ann, I want to congratulate you on that amazing appointment. And we know you're going to do every bit as well as
Let's have her stand up so we can.
You want to be recognized there, Beth? Congratulations. Sorry, I just couldn't see it. And I know you'll do every bit of carrying on the mission statement of Sam and the gang, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And Sam, thank you, and we will miss you, and please stay in touch.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Well, Sam, now's your shot. You want anything to say to your boss, Rick, or me, or anybody else?
No, I'll keep it very, very brief. But it's really just been it's been an honor and a privilege to work for this agency. It's just a tremendous senior leadership team. Obviously, I've learned just an incredible amount from both you, Mr. O'Toole, and from Rick Cotton. So you're in great hands and well-deserved with Beth Ann assuming the wheelhouse. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sam. Job well done, buddy. Okay, moving ahead, we now ask our Executive Director for his monthly report. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to begin this report to the board by commenting on the agency's overall Q1 financial operating performance versus our 2022 budget, which you just heard reported on by our Chief Financial Officer. That performance, as she reported, was strong. Net operating revenues for Q1 were some $11 million, or 2% better than planned, and this net result was achieved by revenue performance that was almost exactly what we had budgeted to achieve, even in the face of the Omicron surge. But most importantly, and this is the point I want to make to the board, staff at the agency demonstrated extraordinary discipline, resolve, and skill this quarter. They held the expense line to enable the net operating results to come in better than planned. So I want to publicly thank and recognize the agency leadership, all of the employees of the agency, the finance organization that works across the agency to identify efficiencies and monitor performance, the line departments whose frontline employees operate and maintain all of our facilities, and all of us, the staff departments, for making this performance possible. Now, as we approach the peak spring and summer travel periods, our airports have seen solid gains in volumes. Over the Easter and Passover holiday week, the airports saw some days with the highest passenger levels since the pandemic began. At our bridges and tunnels, vehicular traffic is currently holding steady almost exactly at 2019 volumes, having recovered to that level of performance. The seaport continues to set records with March. Seaport continues to set records remarkably, with March having been the best month in the Port Authority's in the port's history. At PATH, by contrast, ridership remains at approximately 50%. On a separate front, this month we took note of Earth Month and continue to reaffirm our commitment to being a leader with respect to sustainability. We unveiled last week a new solar energy facility at LaGuardia Airport, which is the largest solar array to date on Port Authority property, and a symbol of our commitment to meeting the net zero goal by 2050. But that is not all. Our momentum is expanding. Our solar capabilities will continue to grow. Earlier this month, we began construction on a solar facility at Newark Liberty Airport, which at its completion will be 4 times the size of the LaGuardia solar array. We will continue to aggressively expand our sustainability efforts, and in this connection, I'd like to note that the PA continues across our 3 airports to have the largest fleet of electric buses of any airport operator in the United States, and we have made a commitment to expand our use of electric vehicles so that within the next 2 years, our light-duty fleet will be 50% all electric. So I'm going to conclude, Mr. Chairman, by a more detailed report on our facility operating volumes. For the week of April 18th to April 24th, the passenger volumes at the airports were at 88% of their pre-COVID April 2019 weekly average volumes. As I said, looking at the Easter weekend that coincided with the start of Passover, passenger levels for that weekend alone were at 93% of 2019's Easter weekend. At our bridges and tunnels for the week of April 18th to April 24th, vehicular crossings at the 4 bridges and 2 tunnels were at 102% of the pre-COVID April 19 weekly average. Overall volumes thus have now essentially recovered to 2019 levels or above, but with a higher mix of trucks. At the port, estimated volumes at the seaport for March were at nearly 150% of March 2019, as I said, setting a new record for any month in the port's history. At PATH, path ridership remained at 50% of the pre-COVID April 2019 weekly average. Finally, with respect to workforce impacts, in the past 30 days, 66 employees have reported positive test results for COVID-19. There are currently 71 employees in quarantine, up from about 40 for last month, but still far below the levels seen in January during the most intense period of the Omicron surge. And I'm pleased to report that there are no hospitalizations. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Rick. And it was a delight, Rick, to visit the LaGuardia Solar Farm with the 3,500 panels. And it's with great admiration we look forward to the panels being constructed in Newark and eventually at JFK. And, you know, we're doing everything we can to reduce our carbon footprint. And along the way, we'll be actually securing electricity at a below market rate, which is all pretty cool stuff. So let's continue with that mission. Any comments or questions from the commissioners from Rick's reporting? All righty. If now's the opportunity we're going to have to hear from the public, and this is great. We're back actually hearing from the public. I enjoy this part. I won't speak for all commissioners. I enjoy hearing from the public. It's a great opportunity face to face to see what's been happening and hearing from you. We asked that some speakers have submitted some written statements and some videos. I think we have 2 of those. We've allocated about 30 minutes of time, and we're asking the speakers to come up, identify themselves after I've called upon you, and then you are limited to about 3 minutes of time. So let's start that. The first speaker we're going to hear from is Nellie Weissman regarding the Complete the George.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman O'Toole, Director Cotton, Commissioners. My name is Neil Weissman. I head Complete George, the now 200 organizations, communities, and electeds calling for wider bikeways across the George Washington Bridge. You have copies of extended remarks, and they can also be viewed online at completegeorge.org. Click the link to South Path Plan. This year, the agency is expected to open the rebranded North Walk as it moves the recabling project to the south side. The agency will then face a choice. It can allow thousands of pedestrians and cyclists to share a facility not half as wide as needed to support safe operation, or it can make everyone walk the sole bikeable Hudson crossing between New York City and North Jersey. Today, I offer 2 plans to address the problem, one quick, the other permanent. The first image you have depicts a catwalk now deployed along the South Path. It is cantilevered outside the uppermost supports, and it is fenced in by orange safety net. Access is by a short flight of stairs at either end. This catwalk can form the basis for a limited-use bikeway. The quick fix entails spanning the cantilevers with lightweight fiberglass decking and redeploying the safety net now strung across the upper level. Access would remain by stairs. Due to its narrowness, the path would only be suitable for one-way operation, but the agency would have new capacity to manage peak demand on the North Walk. The second image shows a permanent 10-foot bikeway running below the upper deck supports. The bikeway routes through the towers, following the same track as the walkway. The 2 paths merge at the new access ramps. Because the suspension cables do not extend down into the bikeways, they won't pinch the path every 60 feet like they do the walkway. So the cyclists can use it for the full length of the span. The new bikeways would be sheltered from falling ice, so they principal cause of winter closures, and containing the path within the existing structure should simplify design and reduce cost. I ask that the agency vet these proposals, including the potential for external funding. The limitations of the current design will negatively impact the growth of cycling across the region for generations. And if you factor the durable benefits resulting from a robust connector and the broad public support, you should have a very competitive application. Thank you and welcome back.
Thank you. Jason Anthony?
Good afternoon, Jason Anthony from Amazon Labor Union, the first worker-led independent union established in New York City this past month. It has been a long time. It has been a long time since the last time that I spoke in the part unauthorized, like I called this agency, because it doesn't represent my interest or the interest of nor New York City or New Jersey. Why I came to Jersey City this month? Because the agency is doing a secret agreement with Amazon, a $1 trillion company that pays zero taxes to establish their air hub in Newark Airport. Rick, I know your face since your pal Patrick Joseph Foy was here back in 2017. You should remember my face, you know that.
Hey, Jason, I ask that you direct the questions towards me and not make
What?
it personal. Jason, I'm addressing you. I ask that you respectfully address the question to us as opposed to singling out a personality.
But I'm a transit advocate who represents the working class in both states. But you guys shouldn't do business of a $1 trillion company that pays zero taxes at all, that doesn't benefit nor the community or the state of New Jersey. And behind closed doors, never. And please, do business with the MTA, because Governor Hochul announced yesterday that the Q70 LaGuardia link is free starting Sunday. So you guys should pay the MTA a check for the operations for buses to LaGuardia Airport. So that's all that I have to say. Thank you very much.
Ramon Cuevas? Ramon?
Hola, mi nombre es Ramón Cueva y trabajo en Borestín, propiedad de la aerolínea El Al. Desde hace 7 años, todos los días empaco alimento, kosher, lo preparo y sello para vuelo alrededor del país. Me pagan $15.60 la hora. La comida que preparo va a vuelo para la mayoría de las principales aerolíneas y compañías aerolíneas que me entusiasman. Disculpen. Para la mayoría de las principales aerolíneas y otras compañías, aerolíneas que me entusiasman saber que la autoridad portuaria, el salario mínimo el 2018, también agradecí que la autoridad portuaria incluyera a los servicios y preparación de comida para aerolíneas en la ley. Lamentablemente, a pesar de todos los que mis compañeros y yo hemos hecho por la empresa Borestín, se han negado a pagar el salario mínimo. El salario mínimo es muy importante para mí en este momento, porque la inflación ha estado aumentando rápidamente, pero mi salario no ha aumentado. Cuando voy al supermercado a comprar comida para mí y mi familia, el dinero que traigo a casa en mi cheque de pago no alcanza para comprar tanto como antes. Estamos en negociaciones de contrato con Borestín. La compañía ha dicho que no necesita cumplir el salario mínimo de la autoridad portuaria. La compañía quiere pagarnos menos del salario mínimo. Borestín y el AL deben asumir la responsabilidad y hacer lo correcto por todos los trabajadores. La pandemia ha sido dura para todos nosotros. Estoy aquí para pedirle directamente a ustedes, la autoridad portuaria, que responsabilicen a Borestín, el AL, por el salario mínimo incluido en el dinero, el retroactivo que se nos debe, y garantice la salud y la seguridad de todos los trabajadores bajo la autoridad portuaria. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Real quick in English. Hello, my name is Ramon Cuevas, and I've worked at Bornstein Catering.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Dan Gillespie. I'll be speaking later. I'm with Unite Here Local 100. And I've worked at Bornstein Catering, owned by El Al Airlines, for 7 years. Every day I pack kosher foods, prepare and seal them for flights around the country. I am paid $15.60 an hour. The food I prepare goes on flights for most of the major airlines and other airline catering companies. I was excited to learn about the Port Authority increasing the minimum wage in 2018. I was also grateful for the Port Authority including airline caterers in the law. Unfortunately, despite everything me and my coworkers have done for the company, Borenstein has refused to pay the minimum wage. The minimum wage is very important to me right now because inflation has been rising quickly. My wages have not. When I go to the supermarket to buy food for my family, the money I bring home in my paycheck does not buy as much as it used to. We're in contract negotiations with Borenstein. Borenstein has said it doesn't need to comply with the Port Authority minimum wage. The company wants to pay us less than the minimum wage. Borenstein and El Al need to take responsibility and do right by all the workers. The pandemic has been hard on all of us. I am here to directly ask the Port Authority to hold Borenstein and El Al accountable for the minimum wage, including retro money owed to us, and ensure the health and safety of all the workers under the Port Authority. Thank you.
Ramon, thank you. Dan, hey, Dan, while you're there, you're up next anyway.
Okay.
Dan Gillespie.
So, hello.
Hello.
My name is Dan Gillespie, and I'm a lead organizer with Unite Here Local 100, responsible for airport concessions, retail, airport lounges, and airline catering at Newark, LaGuardia, and JFK airports. I'm here today to bring to the board's attention the one company that we represent in the Port Authority system that has not been paying all its workers the current Port Authority minimum wage of $17 an hour, Borenstein Caterers. Air travel is back. Nationally, March has been the strongest recovery month for plane travel since the pandemic began, according to TSA screening numbers. JFK's passengers have returned. Passengers are once again filling the planes, and yet the workers who prepare the food for these same planes are being left behind. Borenstein Caterers is owned by El Al Airlines and makes the kosher food available on flights across the country. El Al and Borenstein are fighting against the Port Authority minimum wage. American taxpayers supported Borenstein during the pandemic through the Payroll Support Program. Borenstein received over $4.9 million in PSP money. From what we know, this money has been designated only for airlines and airline caterers. El Al needs to take responsibility and do right by all the workers in their ecosystem. They have the power to call on their contractor to do the right thing. Borenstein should not be allowed to refuse to comply with the Port Authority minimum wage. When working people are just trying to catch up post-pandemic, corporations are doing everything possible to hold them back. I thank the Port Authority Board for your attention to this pressing issue.
Thank you. Angela Kazoun?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ángela Cazún y trabajo en Borenstein, Borenstein Prioridad del AL desde hace 24 años. Trabajo en el departamento de ensaladas. Actualmente gano $15.60 por hora desde el 2019, pero preparo ensaladas kosher, comida que Borenstein vende a las aerolíneas. Hemos estado negociando durante algún tiempo, pero Borenstein continúa negándose a pagar el salario mínimo de la actualidad portuaria. Logró la pandemia. Mis compañeros y yo hemos mantenido a Borenstein fundamentalmente fundamento con éxito. Nos preocupamos por nuestra seguridad mientras trabajamos durante la pandemia y hemos hecho todo lo posible para que Borestin haya podido operar durante la crisis de COVID. A pesar de los años de trabajo y sacrificio, mis compañeros y yo no hemos recibido aumento en el salario durante la pandemia. Sé que Borestin recibió millones de dinero del gobierno de PSP. Se suponía este dinero se usaría para ayudar a cubrir los gastos, los costos de nómina. El desconocimiento de Borestin y el AL de la ley del salario mínimo actualizado portuario se ha prolongado durante demasiado tiempo. Le pido a la autoridad portuaria que me ayude a mí y a mis compañeros a obtener un salario justo y el dinero retroactivo que tenemos derecho. Por años que Borestin se negó a seguir la ley portuaria. Gracias.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angela Kazoun, and I have worked at Bornstein Caterers, owned by LL Airlines, for 24 years. I work in the salads department and currently make $15.60 an hour. I have been making $15.60 an hour since 2019. I prepare the kosher salads and food that are sold by Bornstein to the airlines. We have been in contract negotiations for some time, but Bornstein continues to refuse to pay the Port Authority minimum wage. Throughout the pandemic, me and my coworkers have kept Bornstein operating and successful. We have been concerned about our own safety while working through the pandemic and have gone above and beyond to make sure Bornstein has been able to operate throughout the COVID crisis. Despite the years of hard work and sacrifice by my coworkers and I, we have not received a wage increase during the pandemic. I know that Bornstein has received millions in PSP government money. This money was supposed to be used to help cover payroll costs. Bornstein and LL's ignoring of the Port Authority minimum wage law has gone on for too long. I am asking the Port Authority to help me and my coworkers get the wage and retroactive money we are entitled to for the years Bornstein has refused to follow the minimum wage law.
Thanks, Angela. Thank you. Keisha, Quito, Keisha.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Kessia, soy miembro de Make the Road New Jersey. Yo he trabajado en Amazon y quiero decirles a ustedes que estos no son trabajos buenos. Hay un reporte que está saliendo hoy que dice que más de mitad de todas las lesiones que los trabajadores sufren en los almacenes son en Amazon. Esto es horrible y es un ejemplo de que Amazon no es un buen empleador. Por favor, no entren en este acuerdo con Amazon, porque no es bueno para nuestras comunidades y para nuestros trabajadores. Gracias.
Thank you. Just identify yourself, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Yambeli Gomez. So I'm just going to be translating for her.
Okay.
So good afternoon. I'm a member of Make the Road New Jersey, and I've worked at Amazon. And I want to tell you that these are not good jobs. There's a report that is coming out today that says that more than half of all injuries of workers in warehouses are of Amazon. This is a horrible statistic, and it's just an example of Amazon not being a good employer. Please do not enter into this deal with Amazon because it's not good for our communities and it's not good for our workers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. George Boda.
Good afternoon, members of the board, everybody here, good afternoon. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. I have been a lifelong member, resident in Elizabeth all my life. My sister's raising her family there. My mother currently resides there. I work and live there. That's why I'm so highly concerned about this new hub going up at Newark Airport. We're already sandwiched between the Bayway Refinery, the airport, flanked by the port, as you guys all well know. We also have I-78, US 1 and 9. We have the Turnpike Parkway in and around Elizabeth. Thousands of commercial private vehicles running and spilling their fumes all over the place. This hub will exacerbate that even more. Amazon will tout, we're bringing new jobs, revenue, but what kind of jobs? I tell you, I'm a proud Teamster. They're routing, high turnover jobs, in and out, people getting hurt. Last year alone, over 27,000 injuries in their facilities. In New Jersey alone, that was reported to OSHA. How many go unreported? I asked the board of the Port Authority not to come into this agreement with them unless they are committed to good jobs, healthy environment for our communities, and that they will provide steady work, not just come in and promote, their business with their financial gain in mind without, everybody's best interest in mind. You guys, you're charged with managing our roadways, our ports, our airports, our roadways. You shouldn't take that lightly. That comes with a responsibility to the people that reside in and around the areas you manage. So please take that into account when you go into this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Tyrone Gilliam. Tyrone.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Tyrone Gilliam. I'm from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Lived there all my life. I'm kind of concerned about the air hub for Amazon because I have two daughters that work for Amazon. One of them was pregnant at the time and was being very disrespectful, and she left because it was very unsafe for her. I have a daughter that's a supervisor for Amazon right now, and she always complaining about the safetyness, the disrespectness, and I'm part of the safety committee in our warehouse, so I know how important safety are. I live close to Newark Airport. I know the traffic jam that we had, and by allowing a hub to come up in there for Amazon, the air pollution that we deal with Exxon already, with the airport already, is going to increase. Amazon already is reliable for 57% of injuries within the workforce. In 2020, their rate was 27,000 or something for injuries within the workforce. In 2021, their injury rate was up to 34,000. We have to make sure if you allow this hub to go up, that they're going to have proper benefit for our family and friends and neighbors. You have to make sure that they have a proper safety protocol and teach their employees about being safe and how to maintain safety within the warehouse. In my warehouse, we practice that. Our motto is you come in here safe, you go home safe. Always be aware of what's going on around you. And if their safety rate, their injury rate is going up every year, how can we allow this into our community? Guys is making a deal with Amazon without the community input. I believe everybody should have a job, as long as it's healthy and safety environment. But I also believe that the community should have an input and say so in whatever goes on in our community. This traffic jam, I live by 1 and 9 all my life. This traffic jam is going to be more dangerous to Elizabeth and Newark residents than it already is. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you guys. I hope you guys take a look at this, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyrone. Terrence Bankston. Terrence here.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So my name is Terrence Bankston. I'm the president of Parent University, New Jersey, but I also represent Clean Water Action as their statewide environmental justice organizer. I am a South Ward resident coming from the city of Newark. I grew up with the airport in my backyard. Not to campaign, but I also speak as possibly the future councilman, and we'll know that in 2 weeks. As well. So I look forward to having many more conversations with this board as well. Today, I'm also representing a coalition of community labor, and environmental organizations that have come together to call on the Port Authority to stop the secret deal with Amazon. Our coalition is called Good Jobs and Clean Air New Jersey. We stand for dignity, respect, and justice for community residents, for workers, for families, and for small businesses. Back in September, we sounded the alarm in Newark South Ward. As you all have been made aware, on August 5th, 2021, without any public comment, the Port Authority in New York and New Jersey authorized its executive director to enter into a lease with Amazon Global Air for 2 buildings on a 23-acre site at Newark Airport. Amazon plans to transform that site into 250,000 square feet air cargo facility. The 20-year lease for the site was set to be executed on or about November. Thankfully, the misstep or mistake has been delayed. You are not naive. We are not naive, I should say. Delay is not denial. And so just because it has been delayed, we are still concerned, very concerned, and we still want a conversation that we should have had months ago. Amazon is a dangerous monopoly. During the pandemic, Amazon has exploded into our community, becoming the largest private employer in New Jersey and significantly expanding the footprint into our state. But every package that you order, that some of us may order, every click is killing us. Pardon me, I lost the line here. So every click is killing us. It has a cost, a serious one. Let's ask and answer the question. Who bears the cost? It is Black communities, it is immigrants, it's Latinx, it's workers, it's small businesses in Newark, in Elizabeth, in Irvington. It is all of us that are sitting here. And so in the final few seconds, it's a plea to you to stop this deal and require them to have conversations with this coalition. Require them to come into Newark, to come into Elizabeth, and show us the due respect. Thank you for your time, Commissioner.
Thank you, Terrence. James Young? James Young?
Good afternoon. My
Good afternoon.
name is James Young, and I'm a lifelong resident of Newark, New Jersey. I currently reside in the South Ward of Newark, only minutes away from the airport. I'm a member of the South Ward Environmental Alliance. I'm here this afternoon to congratulate you on your appointment to be part of this distinguished board and for your leadership, and to remind you that the decisions that you make as a commissioner could have an adverse effect on the outer communities as it relates to the secret Amazon deal. What is the environmental impact on the already overburdened community by pollution, truck emission? In Newark, the asthma rate among children is 3 times the national average. What decisions are you making to ensure the health of our children and those with pre-existing respiratory issues? I'm here this afternoon on behalf of an adorable 9-year-old child. His name is Zamar Price, whose last words to his mother was, "I can't breathe." He was not assaulted by the Newark Police Department or part of any protest movement, but he died in his mother's arms. We know that we live in what's called a sacrifice zone. So the air quality already is a problem in our Newark community. So I thank you for the opportunity and the time to share my testimony with you and to remember Zamar Price and the other children who have died and those who are now alive or still at risk because of this Amazon secret deal. I plead to your humanity and to your compassion not to ignore us and our community. I leave with you, we can't breathe. But we want you to be able to sleep at night, to know that you've done the right thing for our community. God bless you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks, James.
Also for your participation.
Bruce Hain? Bruce Hain?
Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Hain. My association is with my website, railnycaccess.com, and I have brought an excerpt from my comment on the air train. This is or on the 14 alternatives that were added to the original. Was it 33 or was it 43? I think so. There must be 57. Well, I would like you guys to read these, and I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I call up and I try to be. Well, just a minute. How many do you want? Well, maybe you'd better take a few more. But I think this is an excerpt, and I'd like it if you'd go to the website and read the entire comment, and also to look at the designs there. There's one for conventional rail and one for a roller coaster type of people mover. And it's quite refined. It's as refined as I can get it anyway. There's a roller coaster engineer in Germany approved of it. And there's a company, Intamin, who does this type of thing. They've tried to get transportation using this technology. I mean, you have roller coasters that go 150 miles an hour every day, over and over again. They're quite reliable. But I can't seem to get anybody interested in that one. And then this Steinway Street is the only way to build a subway to the airport if you're going to do it. And it's funny because the MTA spent $17 million, it says in a news article I read, trying to decide how to expand the subway to the airport. And I mean, if you have 57 alternatives and you hire transit planners. Well, I don't have any bona fides for transit planning, but I think I know something about it. And they draw something that takes 5 minutes to draw, and you have how many of them? Many alternatives, and you hire one person for 5 minutes to do that. This time they didn't even come up with an explanation of the drawing. That's not required without NEPA, but I do hope you'll take it seriously and contact me, or because you've got to have some kind of useful project.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. We have two video statements. Courtney Brown. First one?
Yeah, I think they'll be playing them in succession, so.
Right, and then the second one is Patrick Young.
Correct.
Hi, my name is Courtney Brown. I'm a current Amazon employee, and I'm a Newark resident. I'm here because I'm worried about Amazon coming to my community without the input of me and the others that live here. They don't even offer good jobs in order for them to even be an option. The money that they offer is very little. It's not enough to actually live. It's not a livable wage. It's below a livable wage. And then the type of job that you're doing tends to cause a lot of injuries, whether if it's a type of injury that's over time or an injury that may happen because they're pushing you past what your body is actually able to perform. And they know they don't really care. They just want their bottom line, which is to push out as much product to customers as possible. And it's more consideration going into the machines that we tend to have in these warehouses than there is for us human beings. The machines, they're taking into account, we need to do maintenance. We need to make sure we keep up on them. Whereas the people, they don't really care about your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. It's always pushing you to do more and more and more. And you have associates like me who have been there for so many years. I've been there for almost 5 years, who end up with injuries such as plantar fasciitis and tendonitis. Some have worse things going on with them. So I'm asking the Port Authority to do the right thing and consider stopping this deal until we can actually secure good jobs and clean air for our communities surrounding the airport.
Hello, my name is Patrick Young, and I'm a partner with the social movement support organization Movement Catalyst. I want to share some insights with the board about what Amazon expanding its footprint in New Jersey means for workers and for communities in the state. Amazon's executives and shareholders have made billions of dollars in profits, promising free 2-day, 1-day, and even same-day delivery of millions of products. But here in New Jersey and around the country, Amazon's workers, a majority of them workers of color, are paying the high cost of free fast shipping with their bodies. Last year, the total recordable injury rate at Amazon facilities nationwide was 7.9 injuries per 100 workers. That was a 19% increase over the previous year and nearly double the national average among warehouse workers. In New Jersey, where Amazon's 53 facilities reported an average of 36,000 employees in 2021, those high injury rates added up to huge numbers of injuries. Last year, Amazon reported that workers at its facilities in New Jersey suffered 1,605 workplace injuries, including 1,386 injuries that were so severe that workers were forced to miss work or be placed on restricted duty while they recovered, leading to 14,000 more days of lost time and 47,000 days of light or restricted duty. Worse, the overall injury rate at Amazon's warehouses in New Jersey increased by 54.3% in 2021 compared to the year before. Last year, Amazon accounted for 47% of employment in New Jersey's warehouses, but 57% of serious injuries in that sector. Across all sectors in 2021, 1 out of every 15 workplace injuries in the state of New Jersey occurred at an Amazon facility. Amazon's own data shows that the company profits from a production system that's built for speed and profit rather than for the people who make the system work. Here in New Jersey, that preoccupation with speed has translated to thousands of preventable workplace injuries. If Amazon is not compelled to improve health and safety practices and allow workers a voice at work, allowing Amazon to expand its footprint in New Jersey will certainly result in thousands more life-changing injuries.
All righty, that concludes our public portion. We'll now proceed with the voting on the items for the board's consideration. Each committee chair will provide a brief report prior to the matters being considered today. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I will now present an item under the committee's purview. I recommend the board approve a collective bargaining agreement with the American Train Dispatchers Association, which represents 16 PATH employees who supervise train engine operations and perform related tasks. This agreement was ratified by the union members on April 18th, 2022, and the agreement is consistent with the terms of previously settled contracts with other Port Authority and PATH unions. Prior to making a motion, I ask the corporate secretary, do we have any recusals?
There are no recusals required.
Any questions or comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Horwitz?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinotti?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Menendez?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Chairman, Commissioner Rosado had to leave a couple of minutes ago. She filed her affirmative vote with me on this item.
Okay. Motion carries. They're in order. Item has been approved. At this time, we turn to Commissioner Cohen as Chair of the Committee on Finance, who will now provide his report on the one item on the Finance Committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As Chair of the Committee on Finance, I am recommending that the committee consider one item. This item authorizes the renewal of property damage and loss of revenue insurance coverage for Port Authority assets. The coverage is placed under two separate programs, one covering certain Port Authority assets at the World Trade Center site and the second covering assets at all other facilities of the Port Authority. This is a vote of the Committee on Finance only. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Secretary note any Commissioner recusals on this matter.
There are no recusals.
Do Commissioners have any questions or comments on this item? Assuming not, I now request a motion on the item.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I now request that the Corporate Secretary call the roll for voting on this item.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Horwitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Menendez? Commissioner Richardson?
As the votes are in order, the item is approved, and I turn it back to Chairman O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cohen. There be no further business. I move to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The meeting's now adjourned. We'll see you next meeting.
Thank you.